Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berbahagia Mr. Yahya bin Mustafa, Ketua Penolong Pengarah Kanan Language Unit Learning Sector Sabah Education Department. Yang dihormati Ms. Soffea binti Muhammad Rahim, or widely known as Soffea Rahim, our speaker for today. Ms. Nirmaladevi Kandasamy, our moderator for today, and to all viewers who is with us today. Salam Malaysia Madani, salam JPN Sabah, sepakat Sabah hebat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. Welcome to our first Magic, Making Learning Great, Impactful and Creative workshop series. Praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala as we have been graced by the chance to gather in this beneficial webinar. Before we move on, let us begin with the recitation of dua that will be led by Ustaz Muhammad Azli bin Hasbullah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Praise be to God, the Lord of worlds. Peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion, and for those who followed his example till the judgment day. We express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend the Magic webinar on assessment in language learning on this auspicious occasion. Ya Allah, we ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. O Allah, Lord of the implementing authority, make the days that we have gone through, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessing, and end with the forgiveness. And also make the days that we have gone through with guidance and end with victory of excellence. Ya Allah, show us guidance and adjust our path and ways to achieve happiness and glory. Let us listen to people who like good things. Let us avoid doing the bad and evil things. O Allah, bless our life in this meeting and gathering and prevent us from harm and unfortunate event. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin, amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you Ustaz Muhammad Azli bin Hasbullah for the recitation of dua just now. I would like to welcome Mr. Yahya bin Mustafa, Ketua Penolong Pengarah Kanan Language Unit Learning Sector Sabah Education Department, to give a welcoming speech.
Sound check. Am I clear, Mr. Sodiq?
Yes, sir. Go
Can
on.
you hear me? Okay, good. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Sodiq Norazmi, Program Director of Magic Program and also acting MC for this afternoon session. Madam Nirmaladevi Kandasamy of SK St. Patrick Tawau as moderator. Yang dihormati Madam Soffiatul Raunakia binti Muhammad Rahim from SK Putrajaya, Presint 16, Enclosure 1. Pegawai Cemerlang SIAC Plus, Program Magic Committee members of 4 PPDs, that is PPD Tongod, PPD Keningau, PPD Pitas, and PPD Penampang. All SISC officers, or as we know them as Pegawai Cemerlang SISC Plus of the Language Unit from all 24 PPDs, English teachers, and also not forgetting other viewers who are watching this live on YouTube channel. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Sabah maju jaya, salam JPN, sepakat Sabah hebat, salam sektor pembelajaran, SPP transforms, aim for the best. I wish you all wonderful Thursday afternoon, and I do hope all of you are in good spirits and also the best of health. Ladies and gentlemen, ideally, we want our pupils to feel excited about learning and school, but this is not always true. As teachers, we are not only worried about clearly presenting materials to pupils in a way they can understand. We also focus on making them want to learn more about that particular subject. A teacher can only achieve this through proper lesson planning and suitable teaching methods in order to make learning a great experience for their pupils. How to make learning an impactful everyday experience, you might say. One approach one approach is to connect learning to real life. I still remember my school days years ago where I wonder whether what I learned will ever be useful in real life. You will sometimes hear this too when pupils are learning new material. It is a valid concern that you should address if you want to engage them fully. Take teaching your pupils effective writing in English as an example. You can show how being a good writer can help them express their thoughts more clearly in real life scenarios. Pupils could also publish small pieces online through personal blogs, enter writing contests, or even create cards and write letters to their friends and families. Anything that makes an assignment or homework more meaningful and engaging is definitely a plus to them. Until you show them the material you teach has practical applications, pupils will always treat learning as a chore. Other aspects to consider is individual intelligences. Pupils naturally have many different gifts, and to get them to be more engaged in a new concept, let them use their most dominant intelligence to work through it. In other words, if possible, give your pupils a choice in how they learn and demonstrate their knowledge. When you do this, you will be able to engage them better. If you tell them to summarize a lesson, don't just force everyone to write a short paragraph. If everyone is required to write a paragraph, you might lose some pupils who don't enjoy writing, as I do. Instead, you could allow them to highlight important points of the lesson through a song. Yet, if everyone is required to perform a song, you might lose pupils who don't enjoy singing, especially in front of their classmates. Drawing mind maps to illustrate what they have learned or found most interesting is another way to make learning exciting. If you offer a variety of options, pupils can choose what they do best. That sounds like fun, and this gets the whole class involved, not just a few students or pupils. Your teachings will be more creative, and pupils will like the subjects too, most definitely. You could also integrate technology whenever possible, encourage movements and interaction in the classroom, or host friendly games and competitions. Making learning great, impactful, and creative can be difficult, but it is definitely rewarding if you are able to do it. What I want to summarize from all this is that learning is a fun activity. You will also end up enjoying your teaching even more because it is rewarding to see the positive impact it has on your pupils. So this is the first series of Magic program, which focus on assessment in language learning, if I'm not mistaken. And we will have more series after this one. Congratulations to the committee members or committee of Magic program. for successfully planning and also making this come true, so that we can share experiences in teaching with other teachers to improve their teachings in the classroom. So let's not waste any more time. I believe everyone online are eager to hear what our speaker had to say. And with this, I congratulate the committee members again and everyone online for for coming together in this session to hear what magic has to offer. Thank you so much, and I hand it back to Mr. Sodik.
Thank you, Mr. Yahya bin Mustafa, for that opening speech, for that very encouraging, welcoming speech. All of you might be wondering what is magic is all about. Now let us tell you, and we will present to you what magic is about. Focus to the screen and behold, it's magic time. Well, that is the magic. And we hope through this program, it would help all our viewers to gain knowledge and heighten our viewer skill. And for your information, the attendance link will be given in the comment section at the end of the session. And it will also be recorded in SPLKPM. And before we begin our session or workshop for today, I would like to give the floor to our moderator, Ms. Nirmaladevi Kandasamy, for today.
Thank you so much, Ego Sodik, for the wonderful introduction of the session, the magic series. And we are going to see a lot of magics where the teachers get to know the webinars and workshop. Thank you so much, Teacher Sodik, for the wonderful introduction and passing over the floor to me. Greetings to everyone. I hope all of you are doing great out there. I can see 55 participants are on watching live at the moment. I'm Nirmaladevi Kandasamy, the moderator for today's session. I'm just curious to know where are our educators and officers tuning in from. So perhaps those educators and officers, you may type your name, your school, the district or state that you are tuning in from. So because it will give some kind of attachment for us to know where are you from. Thank you so much. Okay, shortly I'll be introducing the speaker to all of you. I'm sure all of you are eagerly waiting for the session to start. Before that, let me inform you that if any one of you have questions for the speaker, you may type in the chat box and your queries will be answered at the end of the session, because we want to give the floor to the speaker to take over and explain her innovations and all that. So due to that, the Q&A session will definitely be at the end of the session. So I hope that all of you will be able to type your questions, and we will be handling the questions at the end of the session. Today, we are going to get first-hand experience and information related to assessment in language learning in this first magic series. We are going to look at the magic that teacher Soffea has for us in order to be practiced in our own classrooms. Classroom-based assessments, or known as PBD, is a continuous assessment in learning process that involves the process of gathering information about pupils' progress, development, abilities, and their achievement. Assessment carried out by teachers based on the learning that has taken place within the context of a classroom. All KSSR subjects are involved with PBD. Before that, so I would like to get everyone's attention here that we are going to start the session very soon. Let me introduce the speaker. Okay, so the speaker is actually Miss Soffea binti Rahim. She's an English elementary school teacher from SK Putrajaya Presint 16/1. She possesses an experience of 6 years teaching as an English language educator. She is an edu-influencer. Her passion for the realm of assessments has led her to develop two innovations for easy assessing, with one creation being the widely adopted PBD Telecom, which has been used by educators across the country. Sophia is active in conducting numerous comprehensive courses across the nation, aiding educators in mastering the art of proficient evaluation. Her influence extends beyond her innovations as she has been invited to share her practice on pentaksiran bilik darjah (PBD) multiple times, among them being at the recent convention Sesi Libat Urus PBS 2023, and also by several state education departments and teachers training colleges. She is also among a few selected educators by the Curriculum Development Director for her classroom-based assessment management techniques. She is an outspoken advocate as well. Sophia Rahim often addresses pertinent issues related to classroom assessment and related assessment on her Facebook page. So without further ado, let me welcome Ms. Sophia binti Rahim to take over the floor. Sophia, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Okay. Hi. Thank you for the
Okay.
warm welcome, Puan Nirmaladevi, and also for the introduction. I am
All
extremely
right.
excited for today's session.
Okay, Ms. Sophia, the floor is yours. I'll be at the backstage.
All righty then. Okay, I will be presenting my screen. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. So today for the Magic Series number 1, I will be presenting on assessment in language learning. Okay. So I know in regards to assessment, there are so many controversies. There are many different opinions. So what I will be doing today is I will be showing you the how-tos on how to do listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I will also share with you some assessment innovations, and I will also share on artificial intelligence that you can use for assessments. Because starting in 2023, I feel that artificial intelligence has quite taken over the internet. And with my own experience, I feel that AI has definitely helped in making assessments a lot easier for teachers and educators alike. All right. So I will be starting with the how to's. Okay, these are basically like the principles of making assessments for each of the skills. Okay, and the thing is, I still see some teachers making such mistakes. When it comes to, for example, listening assessment, okay, the rule of thumb is your students should have to listen to be able to complete the assessment. One common mistake that I often see when teachers create listening assessment is that they often create listening assessments where students don't even have to actually listen to anything in order to answer. Here's an example where I demonstrate of such an assessment. Okay, for example, in the screen that I'm showing you right now, how to make a banana split. There's no audio whatsoever, but I feel that even without an audio, students can easily decide and choose which one is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if students were to say, listen on how to make a banana split, they would not have to even actually listen, because based on the pictures alone, they would know how to actually do that. For example, it's obviously going to be this picture here, and then they're going to have the banana, and then they're going to have the ice cream, and then they're going to have the toppings. So they would not have to actually listen to an audio or the teacher reading out something. And with listening assessment, you should, like I said, the principal, your students should have to listen to something in order to complete the assessment. Now, here's another example that I often see, very similar to the one that I've shown you. For example, this is about countries and nationalities. Okay, so say if you look at this picture here, okay, ciao, my name is Gabriela. I am from blank space. I am Italian. The students did not have to listen to anything to know that the answer is I am from Italy. So if you were to do such an assessment like this, the students, you're not actually testing for the students listening. Okay, so you have to be very careful that when you're doing the assessment, a listening assessment, students would actually have to listen. All right. So here are some examples that I have done for listening assessment. When it comes to listening, there are a variety of assessments or exercises that you can do. For example, I've done here, I've got listen and tick. Okay, if we look at the first example here, the students would have to listen to Kim's daily routine, okay, her weekly routine. They have to listen and then they have to tick based on what they are hearing. And as you can see, if we're not listening to anything, we cannot actually attempt the worksheet. Okay, so that is how listening assessment should be. In the second picture, this picture here, um, the students have to listen and number. So it's Amelia's day in town. They have to listen to the places that Amelia have gone to, and they have to number it in sequence. Okay. So where does okay, for example, say the audio is like something like, oh, Amelia first stopped at the bank. She went out to withdraw money. She then stopped by the post office to mail something to her cousin. So they would have to put number one at the bank and then number two at the post office. Okay, so you can do listen and number or listen and sequence. Okay, and then at the bottom part here, you can add elements of students needing to listen other than an audio or the teacher. They can be listening to their friends because they should be able to listen to their friends as well. So you make it some sort of a listening and speaking lesson where students will tell you about their imaginary day in town where they have been, and the students, their partner, will have to jot down where exactly their partner have been to. Okay. And the last example here is listen and list. For example, say this is the topic food and health. The students are given a shopping list. The audio is about a shopping list, or the teacher reads out a shopping list. So the students can simply listen and they write it down. Okay. So actually, there are way more varieties than the three that I have shown you here. But here is just some examples to kickstart your idea on how listening assessments should be. All right. Okay. Moving on to how to do speaking assessments. Okay. When it comes to speaking assessment, what's very important, first and foremost, is for the teacher to model the expected construct. Okay. It's very unadvisable for the teacher to simply tell the students what is it that they have to do without actually modeling for them the expectations. So if you want to the students to talk on, for example, how to uh, how to order at a restaurant, for example, how to order at a restaurant, the teacher must show first on uh, on the sentences that may be used when you want to order at a restaurant. Okay. uh, you have to show with confidence, you have to show it with clarity, you have to show it with the correct pronunciation, the correct enunciation, so that when students do it, they have the exact idea or what is exactly expected of them. All right. And then when it comes to assessing the product, assessing what the students have done, yeah, the teacher have three options. Either they use measurable indicators. Number two, create a rubric that you can use a rubric. And number three, have their peers check each other. Okay. What do I mean by each? All right. I will be explaining. Okay, as you can see here, this is uh, a snippet of a classroom-based assessment sheet by Miss Ash. I think a lot of our listeners today, if you are English teachers, I'm sure you are very familiar with our beloved Miss Ash, or otherwise known as Teacher Ash, Ashikin Zainul. And I've really been fond of the way she has done her classroom-based assessment as well. And what I really respect and admire is that she has already created measurable indicators in order to assess her students' skills. Okay, she has done it for listening, speaking, reading, and also writing. So let's look at the writing part here. So as you can see, she has done it in a sense that she can give away the performance level straight away after evaluating the students. So there's number one, for example, requires a lot of support to talk with at least one sentence. That is the measurable indicator there, one sentence. Okay. So with PL4 or performance level 4, the students would have to require minimal support to talk with at least four sentences, uses word, phrases, gestures confidently. And so 5 and 6 would mean that the students are able to produce more than four sentences. They are able to do it confidently. They are able to do it independently. So it's very advisable that when you're doing uh, a speaking assessment, when you want to assess your student's product, you create some sort of indicators like this. You may make it measurable to make it easier for you. Okay, so that's measurable indicator. Another method is you can use rubrics. I think all teachers are very familiar with the term rubric. Okay, so I use rubrics a lot in my classes. And since 2023, I have been particularly fond of using rubrics that are AI generated or artificial intelligence generated. So what I've shown you here is an example that I've created using ChatGPT. I will further explore on AI at the very end of the session, but here is a snippet of the prompt that I have entered into ChatGPT. Here I've written, create me a speaking rubric for year 5 students, make it into a table, evaluate based on the following categories: clarity, confidence, number of relevant details, and creativity. Make sure there are 6 levels, with 1 being the weakest and 6 being the most advanced. Because if possible, we want to be assessing the students and be able to give the performance level straight away. So that's why I have prompt ChatGPT to give me uh, the levels from 1 to 6. And then when it comes to the categories, clarity, confidence, number of relevant details, and creativity, how have I chosen these categories? I have referred to the DSKP. So you can go to the DSKP. When you look at the descriptors for the speaking assessment, you can see that in order to achieve a TP6, the students need to be able to speak with clarity. The students would need to speak with confidence. The students would need to have a lot of relevant details. The students need to be able to talk with creativity. So it's very wise that you are always referring to the SKP before you type in your prompt into the chat GPT. Okay. And then here is an example of what ChatGPT can produce. So as you can see here, we've got the categories: clarity, confidence, number of relevant details. And then there's level 1 up till 6. 6 is a bit it's snapped out, it's snippet out, but I will show you the full version later on. So for example, it has cleverly generated for us. Level 1 is speech is unclear and difficult to understand. Level 5 is speech is clear and well paced with minimal hesitation. So that's clarity. If confident speaker is extremely unsure, hesitates frequently, and may mumble. And then for level 5, speaker demonstrates confidence and minimal hesitation. So you can be using a rubric in order to assess your students. I'm sorry. Okay. And if you feel like there are, you know, further details that ChatGPT can make better, you can just simply type in the prompt. For example, you can type in a prompt, make this more specific, or add in measurable indicators for each category. And ChatGPT will do that for you. Okay. Number 3 is peer checking. It is very important that in doing speaking assessments in class, you're not just asking the students to orally present their work, they need to have a conversation with their peers. So, one example here's a snippet, an example from Teacher Dila. As with Miss Ash, I'm sure a lot of English teachers are very familiar with our Teacher Dila. She has a page called Teacher Dila's English Lessons. So here's an example of her worksheet for speaking assessment. So as you can see, the speaking construct that they need to focus on for the day is, do you like whatever fruit? For example, do you like apple? Yes, I do. Or no, I don't. Okay. So that is something that the teachers need to model. Preferably, they will need to ask like two students to model before the teacher tells all the other rest of the students to do the task. Okay, so the students will need to go around the class, find a number of friends, and ask them, do you like apple? Do you like watermelon? Do you like banana? Do you like pear? So on and so forth. And the friend would need to respond with either yes, I do, or no, I don't. And here it's obviously peer checking because the students would need to actually listen, and we will be able to assess which students have spoken based on the names that have been listed in their friend's worksheet. Okay, and you need to also like give certain standards to the students, like, oh, your friend needs to be speaking in English, because there are students who's going to be cheating and say uh Apple suka. Okay, they are trying to cheat their way out of actually speaking English. So you have to create standards. You have to emphasize to the students that the friend has to be speaking in English in order to have their name jotted down in their worksheets. Okay, and they have to be speaking in full sentences. Okay, so that's peer checking. So we've done listening and we've done speaking. Now, okay, here's another a few examples for a speaking assessment. Okay, here is an example from overseas. Here are examples from overseas. So for example, this is from America. They got the national curriculum level descriptors. Okay, you can put it inside a table, and then you can ask their peers on whether they feel very happy with their friend's performance, or they feel sad, or they feel it's very bad. Okay, you can use like emoticons in order to help friends assess each other. Here you can also simplify the language when it comes to assessing their peers, because obviously when we want to ask students to assess each other, the language needs to be at their level. They need to be understanding what is it that they need to be assessing. For example, we can hear the speaker. I think that's very easy for the students to understand. We can understand the speaker. The speaker has many good and interesting ideas. So it's important when you want the students to be assessing each other, you are using simple language that they can definitely understand. So simple how you can use, a much more simplified sentence other than taking it directly from the DSKP, or you can use smileys like this so that they understand better. Okay. Okay, this is something that I've touched on before. I really like to emphasize that when it comes to speaking assessments, it's very important that you are not just asking them to do oral presentations. It's very important that you have a conversation with them. For example, they present something, and then the teacher would need to actually ask questions about their presentation in English, obviously, right? Or they can have the oral presentation, and then they can ask their peers to ask questions to them. Okay, because if you are just focusing on the oral presentation, the issue is students may just simply memorize their text without not actually understanding what is it that they are presenting. And when it comes to speaking, they need to be understanding what is it that they are talking about. Okay, so it's important to have a conversation. Sometimes, for example, when I was doing an oral presentation on all about me, okay, all about myself, I would ask them other personal questions like how many siblings do you have, to check that what is it that they have presented, they have actually understood. Okay. Okay, next, how to do reading assessments. Okay, very similar to listening assessment. The rule of thumb is to make sure your students should have to read to be able to complete the assessment. Okay, again, the kind of mistakes that sometimes see is that students do not actually have to read anything in order to complete the assessment. Okay, here is an example where here is an example of how not to do it. Okay, so for example, you've got pictures here. You've got pictures of like cake batter. You got a picture of an oven, and you got a picture of a cake. I think even without reading the text on baking a cake, you don't actually need to read anything to know which one is one, two, and three. Okay, the directions say read the story, but you don't actually need to read the story in order to do this. So obviously, number one is the cake batter, number two is the oven, and number three is the finished cake. So when students are not needing to actually read a text in order to answer, you're not actually testing their reading. It's very important that whatever assessments you do, whether it's for listening, whether it's for reading, they have to listen to answer, they have to read to answer. Okay, so here are some examples that I have done in class. The first example is called information transfer, where students would need to read a text, and then they would have to transfer. This is from linear to non-linear. Okay, so it's a linear text, they have to transfer it to non-linear form. In this example, it can be very tricky actually. In the first example that I show you here, it can be wrong if the students have enough general knowledge. If they have enough general knowledge to not actually needing to read anything in order to answer. For example, this is where you have to use your professional judgment, right? Because here the table is on something very factual. So for example, maybe the students already know the traditional food of China without needing to read the text. So you have to use your professional judgment to make sure that whatever that you are testing, the students need to read in order to fill in or complete the assessment. Okay. So in my case, the students do not know the answers unless they have actually read the text. Okay, and my way of doing assessment, whether it's for listening, reading, speaking, or writing, I like to have the learning standards included in the worksheet to know that I'm actually touching all the learning standards that have been prescribed in the SOW and also the SKP. So here, for example, under 3.2.2, there's understand specific information and details of two paragraphs or more. So that's why I have four texts over more than two texts. So I've got four texts because I'm trying to follow what is it that is underlined in the DSKP. The next one is a typical, this is the first one here is also linear to non-linear, where they have to read a text and then they have to complete the family tree. And then under here is the basic comprehension questions, where they ask questions based on the text. And then one aspect of reading that is often overlooked, even though that it is prescribed in the ESKP and SW, is reading for enjoyment. Okay, so we've got reading for information, but there's one aspect that is often overlooked, which is reading for enjoyment. And it is under 3.3.1, where students should be able to read and enjoy A to fiction or non-fiction, print and digital texts of interest. If you're a teacher who are actively doing Nilam, then that's okay. That means you are on the right track. It has to be a conscious process where you are encouraging the students to read a book of their choice. And the way I've done this is by asking them to do some sort of book review. And obviously, because we are English teachers, the book would need to be in English. All right. Um, if students, okay, how about if some of them say, if some of you teachers wonder, but my students do not want to read something that is of A2 level. They are capable of reading something higher. There's no problem with that. If they are capable of reading something uh, of higher than A2, like a text that is at B1 level, B2 level, maybe even C1 and C2 level, then go ahead. As long as they can read, understand, and enjoy it. Okay. Okay, one other learning standard that is often overlooked is guessing the meaning of words from context. What I've shown you here in the slide is a very advanced, a very high level of guessing of an exercise. Okay, so here's just an example. So maybe what you can do is you provide a text where the word that you want to target is used, okay, and then maybe some clues on what the text mean, and then they would have to fill in the blanks with the words, with the targeted words. Okay, so they have to guess the meaning from the text, and they are given two ways in order to help them guess, which is one, from the text given to them, and two is from the clue words. Okay, so, for example, the shootings at Columbine High School made educators much more, okay, vigilant, because in the text here and also in the clues here, I can deduce that the word vigilance means being, having to be careful, being aware. Okay, or here the words given: trained, registered, watchful. Okay. So if you feel that was such a hard example, you can also do this. What I've done here is the students need to read and guess the meaning. Okay, guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from clues provided by title, topic, or other known words. What I've done here is maybe students have difficulty in doing the exercise that I've shown you before, but maybe they can be given a targeted word, okay, and then show how the targeted word is used in a sentence, and then you can just simply ask the students to take a picture that they think best resemble the meaning of the word. Okay, so I've done this with my level 2 students, and they can do it fine. Even when say if you want to make sure that they are actually understanding the word, you add a question like, what do you think population means? Okay, so they do not have to give you the textbook definition of what population means, just some words that show us that they have actually understood what is the meaning of population. For example, population means number of people, or population means people. Okay, those for me are acceptable answers, meaning they have understood that population refers to to the number of people. Okay, so here's costumes. There is a close-up shot if you can't see. So students, we wear scary costumes on Halloween. The performers wore glittery costumes. Okay, so the students have to either take the picture of the rocket or the merchant or the fireworks, or the picture of someone in traditional attire. Okay, so sometimes I have got students who say costume means clothing. Okay, so that means they have understood. They do not actually have to provide the dictionary definition of the words. Okay, as long as they show you some sort of evidence, that they have understood the meaning of the words. Okay. Next, how to do writing assessments. Okay, this is just my personal preference on how I do writing assessments, because there are so many ways on how you can do writing assessments. Usually I would target three types of writing assessments. One is structured sentence writing. For example, it's usually a one line structure with some sort of grammar component. For example, students need to create at least 10 sentences using there is, there are, there isn't, there aren't. Okay, so that's a one line structure. You have to show them the construct and then you ask them students to actually do them. And then there's formatted writing like emails, letters. This can be done in a guided or independent manner. If it's guided, then obviously you are going to give some sort of scaffolding so that they can do them. Maybe after several practices where it's guided, you can then ask them to attempt the formatted writing independently. Same with narrative writing. Why do I assess narrative writing despite it not being tested in the latest UASA format? It's because you are not supposed to be teaching, and this is something that I like to emphasize. You are not supposed to be teaching solely of what's in the exams. Okay, because some teachers, they have this approach of teaching only what comes out in the exams. If we look at the SKP underwriting learning standards, there are learning standards where students have the ability to narrate fictional or non-fictional happenings in their daily life. So you have to teach students on how to narrate their thoughts in written form. So it can be in the form of stories, it can be in the form of autobiographies. And again, similar to formatted writing, this can be guided or independent. Okay, I do suggest that in the beginning, especially if you're working with struggling learners, you do it in the guided form and then slowly you evolve to the independent type of exercises. Okay, so here are some examples of writing exercises that I have done in class. So the first example there is uh, the one structure, the one line structure, or otherwise known as structured sentence writing. So here they have to write at least 10 sentences using there is, there aren't, there isn't, there are. Okay, based on the picture. Okay, this is something quite relatively easy, and the reason why we do still need to teach students how to write sentences is because one, it is the basis before they are able to write essays, and two is because it is prescribed in the DSKP and also SOW, because students are able to describe people, places, and objects using suitable statements. Okay, so you don't have to always be doing just essays. Okay, and then for the example two here, okay, so this is like students have to do like a descriptive writing. Okay, you can also do like guided writing in the sense that the students are given pictures and then they are given prompts in order to help them write. Okay, and then or you can go totally independent where the students are only given a task and then they have to write freely, and then you can have like some sort of, in order for them to self check their work, you can ask them to, for example, I patrol my writing using the COPS acronym. So C is for capitals. The students have to be assessing their own work, check if they have got all the capitals correctly. For example, the name of places, have they got that in capitals? People's names, is that in capitals? Okay. And then organization. Is it easy to read? Usually for O, we ask students to see whether they have got neat handwriting, whether they have done their writing in paragraphs. So that is O. And also the flow of their writing, is it correct? And then and then for letter P, it's punctuation. So the students need to be making sure that they have got their full stop, they got their commas, they've got their question marks wherever necessary. And then for spelling, they have to be making sure that all the all the words that they have written is correctly spelled. Okay, next I will touch on assessment innovations. Okay, so like how Madam Nirmala has introduced me. She did mention that I have done two innovations in assessments, and that is what I will be sharing today. So we're done with the how tos. If we do have any questions, if you're watching this and you do have any questions, please just ask in the YouTube's comment section on which part is it. Do you have questions for my how to's, for my innovations, or for my artificial intelligence part? Okay, right now I will touch on assessment innovations. All right. So my first innovation is PBD Telecom. Those who have followed me since, if you have followed me since last year, or if you followed me this year, then you will know that I have created something called a process innovation, where I have used Telegram in order to systematically organize my students' work, otherwise known as evidence. So it's called PBD Telecom. What I've done here is that I've created a channel for each student. And then I will rename that channel to my students' names and change the channel's photos to my students' photos. And then I will group the channel into chat folders and label the chat folder with the class name. Okay. Why have I thought of this innovation? All right. So when you are an English teacher, we have the component speaking. Okay. So we cannot really keep track of our students' speaking performance in their exercise books, because obviously it's always going to be in the form of videos and whatnot. And I realized that when early 2022, when I was trying to give the performance level to my students, it was very difficult because I would have to look at the exercise book 1, exercise book 2, and then I would have to scroll the videos in my mobile phone, scroll the videos in my Google Drive, and then I would have to be looking at several sources in order to give them their performance level. So it was huge hassle. I felt it was very burdensome and I feel that I need to do that because I want to give the fairest, most accurate performance level possible. So you have to look at all the skills that the students have managed to perform, right? So based on that experience, I thought, okay, then I really need a solution where all of these materials are put in one place. Whether it's listening, whether it's speaking, reading, or writing, it needs to be put in one single platform. And so I thought of Telegram, because the Telegram does not actually take up your phone storage space, right? And so I feel like it was such a wise choice to use Telegram. And also because Telegram, it has features such as chat folders, so I can systematically organize my students' work with no problems at all. So the reasons I have changed the photos of the students' channels to their faces is because when it comes to English, I think it's not just come to English. I think when it comes to all subjects, when it comes to PBD in general, we really need to be recalling our students' face so that we can remember how they have performed in class, right? So when I see, oh, this is who is one Patricia, so I will try to recall how one Patricia has performed in class, and that will also help in my judgment in giving them their performance level. And when you have done it systematically like this, whether you are teaching 40 students, whether you're teaching 100 over students, it is making your lives as teacher a lot much easier. For example, when the SUPBD asks us teachers to fill in the transit form, and it was during the holidays. Many panic because all of the evidence they have is in the exercise books that was left at school or were given back to the students to bring home. But for me, I did not panic because I have all the evidence in the Telegram group. So when the teachers have finished setting this up, what they simply need to do is every time it's class, not every time lah, when you find it's appropriate, when you feel that the students have been performing optimally, you can simply snap, 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 or record, record, record. So if the writing assessment that particular day is very good, you think it's a good um, representation of their performance, then snap that picture, upload it into their respective channel. If you feel that their reading assessment that day is very good, snap, put it into Telegram. You just do it this for all the skills, and then you will have ample evidence in order to make your professional judgment. Okay, and it's going to help you so much easier when it comes to giving the most accurate performance level possible. Okay, starting in 2023, we have no, not we have. Telegram has the feature topics. Actually, it was released in November 2022, but users started realizing the use of topics in 2023. Okay, if you are familiar with Telegram, then you probably know about the feature topics, right? So, when in the PBD Telecom 1.0, you would have to create a channel for each student, but in the 2.0 version is a lot easier, where you simply need to create one group, and then in that group you would need to create a topic for each student. So in the snapshot that I have shown you here, I have renamed the topic after each student, and I have actually tested. I created 45 topics. It was less than 5 minutes. So even if you're teaching 3, 4, 5 classes, I assure you you can finish it all in one day. Okay. The only downside to this 2.0 version is that you cannot change the icon to the students' faces. But I don't think that's a big issue because you can simply upload the pictures of your students into their respective topics. So here's a much easier version. And the other advantage of using the 2.0 version is that, say if you want your admins to be looking at your keeping of students evidence, you can simply make the link to your PBD Telecom 2.0 group into a QR code. And so you can just simply give that QR code to your admin. So when your administrator scan the QR code, then they will be shown all the topics that has all the evidence according to your students' names. So here's a version that you can definitely try. One downside to it is, this is the second downside to it is, if you were to say have parents enter the group and ask the parents to upload their children's work on behalf of their children, the worry is that because the people can be seeing each other's topics, then there might be cases of people copying down other people's answer. If there's no concern, or if you do not plan on giving the link of the Telegram group to parents, then you can opt for PBD Telecom 2.0. It's a lot easier in comparison to Telecom 1.0. But it's really up to your preference. Both of these versions can both be done in one day, actually. All right. It's just a shorter version. Okay. So how do you actually set up PBD Telecom? Okay. How to set up PBD Telecom. Okay. If you have Telegram now, if you're watching this on your laptop, or I'm not sure if you're watching on YouTube, you can have another tab open. You can go to Telegram. You can click on the icon Telegram, and then you can click on the icon at the bottom that looks like a pencil. You can look at the icon that looks like a pencil, and then this is for the 1.0 version, okay? And then you click on new channel, And then you don't even have to add anybody. You just need to name the channel to a pupil's name. Okay, so it has to have the indicator for the class. So for example, if it's for a student named Adam, you have to write 5 Alpha Adam because Adam is from 5 Alpha. Okay, then you do this repeatedly for each student. So this is where I say it's a bit of a hassle. But I assure you, the hassle is only a one-time thing. Okay, once you're done with that, you can arrange the channels according to their respective classes by using the chat folder function. Okay, so how do you go to arrange the channels? What you need to do is you need to be clicking on the icon at the top that has 3 lines. Okay, it's not in my screen. Okay, I can't really be showing you here. Hang on, let me see if I can show you on my Telegram web. Okay, so if you can see, it's the icon that has 3 lines there. Okay, so you click on that icon and then you can go to settings and then you can go to chat folders. Settings, and then you can go to chat folders. And when you go to chat folders, you can create new folders. For example, you can create 5 Alpha because we are doing the channels for 5 Alpha students. You can create a new folder, name the folder to 5 Alpha, and then in the included chats, you add the channels of the students that you have created. If you have further information on this, you can just simply go to my Facebook where I have given a thorough tutorial on how it's done. Okay, if you prefer on doing the 1.0 version. Okay, that now is the tutorial for the 2.0 version. All right. The 2.0 version is a lot easier. What you need to do again, you need to go to the pencil at the bottom of the Telegram of your Telegram app, and then you click new group. And then when you are creating a group, you do need to have to add someone. So I usually add a colleague or a brother. It doesn't really matter because you can simply click kick that person out later on. But in forming the group, you need to add someone first, and then you name the group to the class name. For example, 5 Ys, and then you click on the button that is like 3 dots. Hang on. Okay, so you click on the button that looks like 3 dots. 5. I'm giving you an example. Hang on. Okay, you click on the button that looks like 3 dots. Sorry, not the click, but the buttons that look like 3 dots. The button that look like a pencil. Okay, you click on the button that looks like a pencil. I think I have to show you the Telegram version in order for you to understand. Okay. Okay. Let's share this tab. Okay, if you can see here, there's a button that looks like a pencil. Okay, in that button that looks like a pencil, it's at the far right corner. Okay, it's at the far right corner. I'm not sure if you can see it. It looks like a pencil. You have to click on the pencil. That is the edit button, and you have to enable topics. Okay, you have to enable topics. Here, I've already enabled the topics, but okay, let me zoom. Okay, so here I have enabled the topics. That is what you need to be doing in order to create the topics in your Telegram group. And then once you have enabled the topics, you can start creating your topics. So here I've got a group, 5 Ys. What I need to do is I click on the button, the 3 dots, okay, and then create topic. And then choose the topic that you want to name and icon. Here is where you create your new tab. Okay. And then let's create another topic. Okay, let's put my name, Sophia Tool, Rauna, and just one group. Okay, so if you have, here's a finished example. Let's see if I can scroll and show you. Oh, it's here. Okay, so here is a finished example where I have done 45 students in one group. Okay, yes, and then it's very easy. So whenever you have students evidence or students work that you want to snap, you can just simply click on the topic, snap, and then put it inside the respective topics. Very easy, very fast. You do not have to be referring to the exercise books any longer after you have done that when it comes to determining their performance level. So that's that. That is for PBD Telecom 2.0. All right. So now moving on to the DSKP based worksheets. Okay, this is something that I have touched on a bit earlier on, where I have said when it comes to creating my worksheets, I really like it when I have the learning standard stated at the top of the page. Okay, especially when it comes to English. If you look closely at the descriptors for English, you notice that what differs from a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5, and 6, one of the criteria is the amount of support. So for level 1, it's students who require a lot of support in order to complete the task. And for level 6 or performance level 6, it's for students who are able to do things independently and confidently. So I feel that it's very important or necessary that you put some sort of indicator on the amount of support that the students have received when it comes to completing the worksheet. Okay, because that will actually help with determining the students performance level. This is something that I have said even in front of the curriculum development director, and she agrees with me. When it comes to English, right, a students can have the same marks. For example, student A got 80 for her worksheet. Student B also got 80. But student A, in order to get her 80%, she may need a lot of support, while student B was able to get the 80% independently. So even that they have gotten the same marks, their TP may differ because of the amount of support that they have received when it comes to completing the work. Okay, so that's why they should have some sort of indication. And another thing is when you do it like this, you are constantly communicating with the students your expectations. So the learning standard has become some sort of objective on what is it exactly that they need to be achieving, they need to be, reaching in that particular lesson. So you have to try to make it easier for them to understand, as the sentences in the SKP is a bit high level. So you have to tell them, okay, by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to understand with support specific information and details of longer simple text. Meaning, when I read out to you the text, when I play the audio, you are able to tick the boxes according to what you hear. And with that, you will be able to achieve the objectives for today. Okay, so you are constantly communicating with the students. And I feel that when you are doing this, especially with PBD, when they say that PBD makes students have no real focus, the students do not have a target, the students are not aware of where they are at. When you are doing it like this, the students know where they are at. They know what is it that they need to achieve. They know what is it that they need to target for the day. So I highly, highly encourage that you do it. And if some of the teachers out there feel like it's a bit too burdensome for me to create my own worksheets, or if you feel like I do not have experience in creating my own worksheets, do not fret, do not worry. There are a lot of examples on the internet. There are a lot of exercise books, practice books that are available on the market that has already state the learning standard. You can just simply choose whatever exercise that you feel is suitable. You have to use your professional judgment when it comes to choosing what's suitable. And then you can just simply paste it on Word and then just write down the learning standard. You don't even have to do it like very fancy or looking very aesthetic or whatever. Okay, as long as you are communicating your expectations, I feel that is very important. All right. Okay, now this is the second innovation, which is I have done for writing. So I've got innovations when it comes to managing student evidence. I've got innovations when it comes to managing the worksheets that I have done. Now, here is an innovation that I have particularly created in order to assess students' writing. Okay, why is it that I have created this assessment, this innovation, is because I realized when the students do their writing, it's very difficult for them to improve. And that's because they get so overwhelmed with the red marks. Teachers, they tend to correct every little grammar errors, and so the students do not know where exactly they went wrong, or even if they do know, they don't know which part is it that they need to improve on. And then, as teachers as well, for us to write a very thorough and constructive feedback on their writing is extremely time consuming, right? So imagine having like more than 100 students and having to write a detailed description of which part they have to be improving on. That's going to take a lot of time, and we are supposed to be doing essays quite frequently. So the innovation that I have thought up is using an application called Loivers POS, point of sale. Okay. um so if you are watching like the Telegram tutorial, if you're watching this from a laptop, or if you feel that you can simultaneously still continue to watch the YouTube whilst also going to the Google Store, the Play Store, you can go and search this app. It's called Loivers POS. It's actually an app for sale. Is for people who are doing businesses. But again, this is a process innovation where I have manipulated the use of this app in order to use it for education. So the very first thing that you need to be doing when you are using this is you need to be able to register. You have to create an account first. Okay. And here is where you can manipulate this app in order to use it for assessing essay writing. Okay, so you have to go to the items button, and then you have to create categories. Okay, categories are aspects that you want to evaluate. Okay, so for me personally, when I do my essay writing, this is completely up to you. When I do my essay writing, I want to be assessing the students' flow of ideas, their grammar, their punctuation, their sentence and word choice, their spelling, and maybe some additional comments. So you have to be creating the categories first. Okay. You may want to actually create the categories based on the categories in the UASA. For example, content and communicative achievement, language and order. You might want to do that so that the students are familiar with the UASA format. This is totally up to your preference, okay? But I want to do the categories like what I've shown on screen. And then under each category, you create items. You create items. What I do is I would create like 5 levels for each item. So there's poor, there needs work, moderate, good, and excellent. And then I will assign a particular price point for each level. So for level 1, since it's a poor level, so I will assign just 2 ringgit. And then if it's a very good flow of ideas, an excellent flow of ideas, I will, assign 10 ringgit for that level. And so when the students have finished their writing and you want to assess them, okay, you can go on to the items, you can go to the categories. Okay, you have to be actually opening the app and exploring. I'm sure that once you explore, it's going to be very easy for you to understand. Okay, you can click on each category. For example, oh, the flow of ideas, these students is deserving of a 3. Okay, I'm going to click 3. The grammar is a 4. The punctuation is a 2. Sentence and word choice is a 3. Spelling is a 5. Okay, it's totally up to you. And then it will generate for you a receipt very similar to the ones that we will get at the cashier. Okay, and when I've done this with my students, they get very excited. And what's more interesting is that the total is considered the marks. So what I've done for my settings, the maximum ringgit that they can achieve is 40 ringgit. So whatever total that they receive, that is out of 40. So you don't even need to do the calculations when you are using this app. It will calculate for you. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Okay, for example, this is just an example of the receipt. Okay, so the students can be getting 6 ringgit for the flow of ideas, 8 ringgit for the grammar, 4 ringgit for the punctuation, so on and so forth. And then the total would be 33 ringgit out of a maximum 40 ringgit. And the students gets very excited about getting these receipts, so it's a sort of motivation for them as well. Okay, and how do you actually print this? Well, you've got two options. The easier way is for you to buy a thermal printer on Shopee or whatever it is that you think you can get access. Uh, it's called a thermal printer. Let me Google that for you to see, to make sure that you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so okay, and on Shopee, it's around 60 to 70 ringgit. Not very expensive. I consider it still very affordable. And uh, when you click checkout in the app, it will automatically print you the receipt, and it can be in sticker form, so you can simply paste it in your students' exercise books. All right. So if you look at my picture here, this is me pasting it inside the student's book. So this is in sticker form. Okay, so the students know exactly. Okay, oh, I need to work on. Okay, so for this particular student here, because she got a lot of spelling errors, more than 10 errors, so she knows that she need to be focusing on her spelling, or the teacher needs to know that, oh, I need to be providing her remedial spelling exercises because she's very poor in spelling. But she's very good in sentence structure. She has got excellent ideas. So the students know where is it. Their strong points, their weak points, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is another innovation that I hope teachers will try out. Okay, and now it is time for AI for assessments. Okay, I have been using artificial intelligence for quite some time, and I absolutely love it. I feel that uh, it's the biggest wow factor when it comes to AI is helping you save time. Because sometimes, because calling it artificial intelligence, obviously uh it cannot overpower your intelligence as a human being, your professional judgment as a teacher. As a teacher, you would know your students better, but with AI, you can definitely make the process easier. you are helping, is like some sort of shortcut when it comes to assessing your students. Okay, so there are so many apps that you can be using when it comes to using AI for assessments, but there are two particular AI that I like to use, uh, and they are called EduAid. Hang on, let me show you. They are called EduAid AI and also Chat GPT. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you on how to use EduAid AI. On. Okay, so let me open EduAid AI for you. Okay. Okay, so I have already logged in. But okay, let me show you what it looks like if I haven't logged in yet. Okay. Okay, so you can sign in with a Google account. So I'm signing with my Google account. Okay. Okay, hang on. Okay, very excited if I see EduAid AI becoming a norm amongst Malaysian students. Of EduAid AI that I'm particularly fascinated by. EduAid AI there are so many features of EduAid AI. I will not be touching on all of it, but there's one particular part that I feel is extremely important and also beneficial for us English teachers is called the feedback bot. Okay, the feedback bot. So if you look here, let me zoom in for you. Okay, so you can paste in the student work. You can paste in the student's work and will generate feedback for you. Reminder that Edu8 does not store your student's work or the feedback we generate. We still recommend to remove any identifying information from the student's work. Okay, so let me just show you on an example. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be pasting a storytelling script that I've created. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to, and what you can do is you can have the students student Telegram. You also can copy and paste. Whatever it is that is going to make it easier for you to just simply copy and paste into the feedback bot. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of narrative writing and how the feedback bot gives how the feedback bot gives feedback. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so if you look at the options here, okay, okay, sorry, okay. If you look at the options here, they've got typographic feedback where it can be commenting on spelling and grammar errors. And then there's also semantic feedback where they can be commenting on logic and reasoning of writing. And then there's also syntactical feedback where it's deeper mechanics of writing. And one that I particularly love is custom feedback, where you can get AI to give the marks for you. Okay, so you can create a rubric. I feel like when you combine the use of EduAid AI together with ChatGPT, then that is just going to be saving you so much time, where you create the rubric in ChatGPT and then you paste it into the custom feedback and get the feedback bot to give you the levels based on what you've written in your rubric. So even when it comes to giving performance levels, you can get the feedback bot to do it for you. Okay. So let's see on what it generates for each type of feedback. Okay, especially I feel like if you're a teacher who's not very confident about giving feedback to students, or if you are a non-optionist, or you have no real idea on how to give constructive appropriate feedback, then you may use AI to help you. Okay, so for spelling and grammar errors, you click okay, so I'm typing typographic feedback, and then I'm going to be clicking generate feedback. Okay, so as you can see, it's generating the response, the feedback automatically. Okay, and let's see what it has got to say. So for okay, overall the student text is well written and engaging. The story flows smoothly and effectively conveys the message of acceptance and embracing uniqueness. So see how it's helping you already. However, there are a few typographic and grammatical errors that can be addressed or improvements. So it's helping you here on identifying the errors in your students' work, because sometimes we are using our own eyes, there may be mistakes that we are overlooking. Okay, so in the paragraph where animals gush about harmony's wings, okay, so this is based on the storytelling script that I have written, but see how they are giving you the correction straight away. Okay, okay, and he is giving you even the suggestions on how it can be fixed. So it can be fixed by removing the line break and keeping the sentences together. So the grammatical errors are also stated. Okay, in the sentence, the news of the winged hippo quickly spread throughout the jungle, and soon Harmony found herself ostracized and left out by her fellow animals. The comma after jungle is unnecessary, so it can be removed to improve sentence structure. So that is the kind of feedback that you need to be looking out for when it comes to giving constructive criticism towards your students' work. Okay, and then they are commenting on clarity and coherence, on punctuations, and so they say that there's minor corrections. Obviously, because this is the work of the teacher, the feedback isn't that lengthy. If you are typing in students' work, they are going to give even more feedback, even lengthier response on how it can be fixed, on how it can be improved. Okay, so let's look on semantic feedback. Okay. Okay, so overall, the student text provides a creative and engaging story. Okay, the argumentation and logic in the text are generally sound. The reasoning in the text is well done. The use of rhetorical device in the text is limited but effective. Okay, and then the suggestions to improve the quality of the text. There are a few actionable steps that students can take. Okay, blah 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 blah, and then they can say, okay, secondly, consider expanding on the themes of acceptance and unity. Consider refining the organization and flow of the story. Okay, so like, and then overall, the student text demonstrates strong argumentation. They give you a summary of the feedback. And imagine if you're teaching secondary school. If you're teaching secondary school, you can get your students to type straight away into the feedback board so that they are always making improvements on their work. And this is very, very important. Why? Uh, I'll show you why. Okay. Because it is specifically stated in the DSKP that students are supposed to produce a plan or draft of 1 or 2 paragraphs for a familiar topic and modify this appropriately in response to feedback. So you are supposed to be making feedback to your students' work, and they are supposed to be making correction based on the feedback based on the feedback given. But what happens usually is that because we have so many students and we got so many things to do as a teacher outside of PDP as well. Because assessing writing in large class sizes is extremely time consuming. Usually, this particular learning standard 4.3.3 is often overlooked. So when you have the feedback, what here you are definitely touching on 4.3.3. Okay. Okay, so that is for, let's go back to Educate AI. Okay, so that is semantic feedback. So they are commenting on the story, the quality of the story, before they were commenting on the spelling and grammar errors. Okay, let's go and look at syntactical feedback or deeper mechanics of writing. Okay, generate feedback and see what it writes for us. Okay, so feedback report. Overall, the student text demonstrates a creative and engaging story. So here it is commenting on the sentence structure, the punctuation, the consistency in verb tenses, the clarity and word choice, proofreading for typos and spelling errors. Okay, so if you've got advanced students, you can even have the students read the feedback themselves. If you have weaker students, you may need to simplify it for them, or you may want to, I like to combine approaches. You get the AI to help you evaluate in this manner, and then based on the response that you've written, you may want to use the feedback receipts that I have shown you. So based on the response that they have generated, you click, and then you generate the receipt so that it is easier for your students to understand the feedback that you have given them. Right. So that is synthetical feedback. Okay. So this custom feedback is my favorite one, where you can get the students to, you can get this AI, this artificial intelligence, to give the marks to your students, because I feel like, since forever teachers have been searching for some sort of app that can help grade uh, essays for us. And now, with the help of artificial intelligence, that has finally become a reality. Because, like for reading, we've got zip grade, some sort of like objectives where we can have machines or applications to mark for us. So that is helping us. But for essays, we've never had, some sort of app to help us, but now we do. Okay. When it comes to the custom feedback where you are able to use your own rubric, I like to combine this with the use of another AI called ChatGPT. I'm sure since the launch of ChatGPT, you all have heard of it before. So I'm going to show you on how it can be done. So I'm going to be showing you on how to use ChatGPT, and then also combine its use with Edu8 AI. So with ChatGPT, what you need to do is you need to be really clever. You need to be really thoughtful, very clear what is it that you want ChatGPT to help you with. So you need to really think carefully on what to prompt the ChatGPT. So here, say if I were to evaluate the same text that I've been putting into Edu8 AI, okay, I may want to write, create me a rubric for narrative writing. It is for year 6. Okay, it is for year 6. Make it into a table. Okay, it's very important that you write that. Create me a rubric for narrative writing. It is for year 6. Make it into a table. It will evaluate or assess. They evaluate the writing according to the following categories. Okay, how are you going to know what categories to look out for? I highly suggest that you refer back to the DSKP, okay? Because we want the DSKP to help us in the writing of the rubric. Okay, so let's hang on. Let's share this tab. Okay. Okay, we're going to the DSKP to help us know what categories can we list. So I think I want to list coherency because in the DSKP there's about writing coherent sentences. Okay, using basic coordinating conjunctions and reference pronouns. Okay, so let's put into ChatGPT coherency and coherency. Hang on, we're going to write coherency. Okay, and then 2, let's do use of, okay, through the use of conjunctions and pronouns. Okay. Okay, and then, or you can just do coherency if you want. If you don't want to say about the basic coordinate, that is also okay. And then let's see another one. Okay, we can say that. Okay, so here in 4.3.1, they need to be able to use capital letters, full stop, commas in independent writing. So we can say we want to be able to check for punctuation. And then spelling, they spell a range of high frequency words accurately independent writing. And then there's also produce a plan or draft of 1 or 2 paragraphs for a familiar topic and modify this appropriately in response to feedback. Okay, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Oh, sorry, I was not showing you the ChatGPT. All right, now I'm sharing it. Okay, so spelling. Number 3 is punctuation. Number 4 is I will do it according to the USA now. Content. Okay, so coherency, spelling, punctuation, content. Okay, and then let's see, grammar is already spelling, and then communicative achievement is not necessary because this is a narrative writing. So, and then we add, make it into 6 levels with make it have 6 levels, with 1 being the weakest level and 6 being the most advanced. Make it have 6 levels, with 1 being the weakest level and 6 being the most advanced. So when you do it like this, when you make it to have 6 levels, you can already generate a rubric that will help you assess the students and give the TP directly. Okay, so let's click this, send message. So here you can see it is already in a blink of an eye already creating you the rubric, okay, according to what is it that you have requested. So if we look at this coherency, for level 1, ideas are disconnected and difficult to follow. And then for level 6, the description is seamless flow of events, effectively engaging the reader. Okay. And then for spelling, numerous errors in spelling, making text hard to read. Virtually, okay, for 6, virtually error-free spelling, showcasing a wide vocabulary. So if you're using this rubric, you can confidently give your students the performance level that is, that is very appropriate for their level. Okay. And then in order to make it even better, what you can do is add in measurable indicators. This is into the descriptions. Okay. You may want to have, like, for example, okay, write an example with ChatGPT. If you want your prompt to be very, very strong, you can give it an example so it knows what is it exactly that you are aiming for. So for example, for level 1, uh, apa, creates, produces more than 10 spelling errors, whilst for level 6, produces absolutely 0 spelling errors. Okay. And then, okay, so here it's making it, okay, so like for example here, hang on. Still. Okay, so for spelling, now it has given you something to help you make your uh, assessment of writing even easier because it has those measurable indicators. Okay. All right. So now you can copy this. You click on copy. You can copy this, and then you can paste it into Edu8 AI to help you mark the work. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm sharing this tab. Okay, so I'm back into Edu8 AI. I want this app. I want this Edu8 AI app to create for me the marks for the script that I have entered into this space here. Okay. So click on generate feedback. So now it's going to give you the levels under each category. Okay. So coherency, level 5. Spelling, level 6. Punctuation, level 5. Content, level 5. So here you already have an application that is helping you determine the performance level. You can even copy paste, you can screenshot this, you can include it in the PBD Telecom as further evidence of your students' performance. So when, say if you have got a parent questioning you or whatever, you've got solid evidence as to why they are deserving of this and this and this. Okay, but I do suggest that you are also reading through the feedback that AI has generated, because as I've said, it is artificial intelligence. It cannot actually overpower your intelligence as a human being. So please do read through the response, the feedback. But generally, based on my experience, it tends to be very accurate. Okay, it tends to be very accurate, and it's definitely helping you to save time. So that is Edu8 AI. Okay. And as for people asking me, is ChatGPT free? Yes, absolutely it is free. I have not paid 1 single cent in order to use ChatGPT. And Edu8 AI is also free. Whatever is it that I'm sharing you here, whether it's PBD Telecom, whether it's Loivers, POS, everything that I've shown you here is free. But there is, for ChatGPT, there is a paid version. Okay. I'm using I'm using a free version, but there is actually a paid version. Let me show you. Hang on. There is right now. Right now, as you can see, there is it says here GPT, Chat GPT 3.5. There's a version that is 4 point something. So that's a paid version. With the paid version, the feedback is even more intelligent. So if you are willing to pay even higher for a better response, then go ahead. But I find, especially if you're teaching in school, the feedback that he has generated is more than sufficient enough. Okay. So that is ChatGPT and that is Azure AI. But is ChatGPT only useful for creating rubrics? Absolutely not. It can also help you create the assessments, especially when it comes to creating worksheets and even whatever topical assessments, exam papers. I love using AI in order to help me because creating quality questions can be very difficult, especially if we have multiple levels of students. But with AI, it can definitely help you. Let me show you how. Okay, for example, with ChatGPT, what's important is you give it an example. Like I've said here, when you give it an example of what is it that they need to produce, it will help. It will produce you something very similar or very accurately on what you want it to produce. Okay, so for example, say create for me a question. Okay, uh create for me a question task. Okay, it needs to have it needs to have 3 bullet points. Okay, it needs to have 3 bullet points for students to elaborate on. Okay, this is what I'm doing right now is um say if you want to create a question that's very similar to part 6 of UASA. Okay, so you want to create a question that's very similar to part 6 UASA. So you can write what I've written there. Hang on. And then you can give an example. Okay, let's say um, your friend Sarah. Okay, I want it to be about a birthday party. The following is an example on Mother's Day. Create something similar. Okay, the example. Okay, Sarah is planning to host a birthday party for her brother. For her brother, she needs ideas. In your email, suggest to her what presents to get her brother, ways on hosting the birthday party effectively. I'm just thinking on the top of my head, and then offer to help her prepare everything. Okay, now create something similar but for Mother's Day. Okay, let's see if I've prompted correctly. No, stop generating. No, this is not okay. So sometimes ChatGPT does not understand what is it that you are prompting. Okay, so create me the task, not the answer. Not the answer. Let's see if it understands now. Okay, okay. Okay, so now this is too long. Okay, this is too long. You can ask it to make it simpler. Always have to like constantly prompt the chat GPT to make it to help it to make it create what is it that exactly make it simpler using far shorter sentences. Okay, and then it does take some practicing to do to know what exactly that you need to prompt. Okay, so now you have got a question that is very similar to part 6 of UASA. Okay, so say your friend Jamie wants to make Mother's Day amazing for their mom. Write an email to Jamie with your ideas. Suggest nice gifts for their mom. Plan a fun day with activities. Offer to help get everything ready. Write a clear and helpful email. Use simple sentences and be friendly. Okay, this is obviously not needed, so you do not need to use it. So if you are a teacher who is like struggling with making your own assessments, if you're not quite sure with your level of grammatical fluency, you can always ask ChatGPT to help you. Okay, and then with a bit of practice, you can get ChatGPT to produce exactly what is it that you want. Okay, so again, there are so many AIs. The two AIs that I have suggested here, and I feel is already orang kata, enough for teachers to use for their daily use, which is Edu8 and also ChatGPT. And so with that, I have come to the end of my session. Okay, I will be sharing my slides with JP and Sabah and also my personal Facebook if you so wish to request the content of my slides. And if you need further information, if you want to follow further ideas, you can follow my Facebook, Soffea Rahim, or you can also follow my FB page that is especially dedicated to sharing ideas on teaching, which is the Unicorn Teacher. And with that, that is all for my session, which is assessment in language learning. I pass this to our lovely moderator, Madam Nirmala. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm sure there's going to be a question Q&A session for me later on. So I'm sure this is not goodbye yet. Thank you, Madam Nirmala.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Sophia, for the wonderful, extensive information that you have given on assessment, especially, being teachers, whether we are senior teachers or, new teachers in this field. All of us need to know the importance of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and of course, grammar as well as language arts, which we need to teach our students based on DSKP with the planning or lesson planning, and you touched on SOW as well. So you have covered the whole thing that a teacher need to know, especially related to assessment in the classroom. You have actually, I would say that you have given a very comprehensive workshop related to these skills, where the teachers, I'm sure out there, we have 100 over viewers, where they found it, definitely they would have find it that you have given the baby steps on how to do the assessment as simple as possible, using the elements from the DSKP, which is very important. And sometimes we as teachers, we tend to get a bit confused with the terms used, but you have simplified the terms, especially, let's say, focus on narrative writing, why we need to teach narrative writing, though it is not stated clearly. And you have given the simple steps on how to identify those elements. Those are very important information, I feel, that nowadays many workbooks are available in the market. So maybe some of us tend to forget to use our DSKP, so which is, you have given the comeback to the DSKP, where it has to be in front of us every day, when we are doing the lesson planning. And especially, I like the part where you connected the worksheets. So there's one question, is that where can the educators get these worksheets from? So perhaps you can answer that question.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'm not sure what it's from, but thank you, Madam Nirmala. Okay, as for the worksheets, I have created my own worksheets. However, I do have suggestions on the kind of workbooks that you may want to use for reference. I have been teaching on how to create worksheets through the courses that I deliver since I think it was in 2019 on how to create your own worksheets. But if you feel that making your own worksheets is a bit time consuming, I do have suggestions. Is it okay if I have like a presentation to show? Um,
Sure,
can I
sure,
use a?
definitely. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, hang on. Let me show you something. Hang on. I need to open my slides. Okay. Okay. All right, hang on. So let's see if I can present my suggestion. Okay. Frankenstein. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it's going to be taking a bit of time. But basically, you need to be looking at the examples that are available on the internet, and also uh, the workbooks that are provided in the shops. Okay, so but even then, even in the workbooks and in the internet, there are certain principles that you need to follow. That is why the reason that I have covered in my slot today, why I have covered on why for listening you really need to create a task where you need to listen and answer, or they need to really read and answer, is because I have noticed such errors even in published works and also the works that are on the internet. Okay, so that's why I strongly make sure I hope that if teachers were to use it, you make sure that you are choosing the correct type. Okay, is my presentation showing? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, yes, now
Okay.
to Frankenstein.
Okay, now
Yes.
it is. Okay. So I have called something, it's called the Frankenstein module. Okay. So this is another innovation where teachers be, because I know that teachers then uh to have limited time to prepare their own resources. Okay. So what I suggest teachers do is create a Frankenstein module where they can create a template. You create a template with the learning standards and maybe have the amount of support indicators at the top. Okay. You just create a simple box over there. And then you can simply scan the workbooks that are readily available in the market. So I've got recommendations here. I've got recommendations for level one. Okay. These are the books. Okay. And then I've got recommendations for level two as well. So my favorites are OMG, Perkasa, PBD English, and then there's module activity integration English. I have gone through the exercises. I feel that they are accurate and they do follow the DSKP. So you can scan the work and then you can put it inside the template that you have already created. Okay, so then all of your worksheets look as if they are standardized and they have the learning standards and also the amount of support indicators at the top. So that is how I have done my worksheets. Some of them I have done from scratch. Some of them I have scanned from books that I particularly like. And then the name of the workbooks are what I'm showing on screen here. Okay. And then besides that, you can also refer to teacher creators. Okay. If some of you wants the recommendations, I will post it on my Facebook and also give it to JPN Sabah, our host for today. You can also be referring to teacher creators for worksheets. So we've got ashtheteacher.com. I'm sure she's very familiar. We've got teacher Fira, we've got teacher Dila, we've got English KSSR, we've got Cynthia, teacher Cynthia, we've got teacher Ain, we've got teacher Nis, we've got Miss Min, we've got Miss Amalina, who has a group called Cool English Lessons. We've got teacher Shuhada, Teacher Hidayu, Madam Najiha, Miss Diana, MYDZ at DZ Resources. We got Suhail. I'm sure a lot of you know Suhail as well. We got Miss Azia. We've got Teacher Asha. We've got Cikgu Daryl, Miss Nashiha. So these are all suggestions. We are so lucky as English teachers. We've got so many teacher creators. We've got so many workbooks available in the internet. So we can just simply, sometimes we can directly take from them, or you might want to adapt and adopt when necessary according to your students' levels. So that is how I've done my worksheets. I use a lot of reference. I refer to a lot of people, a lot of books, do a lot of reading. Okay, so I hope that answers the questions.
Thank you so much, Teacher Sophia, for sharing this wonderful, despite of your own two innovations, the telecam
Mm.
and also the assessment receipt, which were mesmerizing actually. And, you also managed to share the workbooks available out there and also the English language teachers who have been correcting contents. So nice of you to share other people's work and also giving credits to them for the betterment of us teaching English language. And one more thing is that I'm so mesmerized. I'm sure the comments are also pouring in the Facebook. On YouTube by the viewers that you have combined Edu AI and also Chat GPT. So when we talk about Edu AI and Chat GPT, so your hands-on had been very helpful for many of us, where you combine these two, one for rubric, customized rubric, the other one is for scoring and all that. So these combinations gives a lot of information, and the comment sections in YouTube actually pouring with compliments for you. Not many of
Thank
them are asking questions, but many of them are feeling so blessed, for having you around, that you have given a lot of information, because though classroom assessment is something that we have been trained by the ministry for us, but the workshop today has lessen our burden, lessen our burden in order to understand the basic fundamentals information in listening, speaking, reading, writing, including your innovations, so even I have created the Telegram group for my students while listening to you. Thank you so much. Actually, I've been going through this transit form and all that, keeping the documents, some in Wakelet, Padlet, Google Drive,
yes,
Microsoft Teams, and
yes.
all that. So by having the
Mm,
telecam
mm,
that you mentioned, means
mm,
students are joining, and I'm sure I'm going to grab whatever. We have our smartphone when we are teaching, you see, to
yes,
project our
yes.
work and all that. So I think by your information, your innovation, so we can absorb everything, all the information in one platform. So I'll keep updated you with that particular information, how it is going.
Okay.
So I'm so happy, and many of the teachers are very happy as well. So I think one question is, resources is my batchmate. Oh, I think Mr. Sodik is saying something. Okay, I'm so
Uh,
sorry. I thought a question from teacher. So you have nailed it so nicely in terms of listening, speaking, writing, and also your innovation, AI for assessment. So if teachers out there, anyone miss watching this, please kindly rewind and watch so that you get a lot of information. So, Chigu Sophia, before we wind up, do you have anything to say for the educators before I pass over the floor to our MC?
okay, thank you, Madam Nirmala. I just want to say uh, my deepest thanks to JPN Sabah for giving me this platform to share with teachers all over Malaysia, in particular teachers in Sabah. I know that there are teachers outside of Sabah who are also watching. I do feel that when it comes to assessment, it's a lot of try and error, it's a lot of experiment. Nobody is an instant expert when they are first, doing assessments. Even I myself, I do still do some errors in assessments. I'm not perfect. There are sometimes, where I mislook or overlook some things. And, with a lot of practice, you can actually be very good at assessments. And when look for good examples, you will subconsciously be better yourself. And, I just want to just like tell teachers when it comes to PBD, I know that is a very controversial topic, as many teachers consider PBD quite burdensome. They would argue that PBD is something that is practiced overseas and is only ideal overseas because overseas have better or more ideal class sizes. Even though I do agree with some arguments against PBD, I do feel that PBD is definitely the way forward in assessments, where you should be assessing students holistically, because before we were so focused on exams, on what students were able or can be able to do on paper. But with PBD, you are looking at the students, holistically, their potential in listening, their speaking, their reading, their writing, even outside of all those four skills. You want to be seeing whether they are participative in class, whether they are, helpful in class. Those are the things, those are the aspects of classroom based assessment that we should be celebrating and we should be taking in positively. And when you take things positively, when you try to have a solution oriented mindset, things will just get, easier and more inspirational for you. So that is it from me. Thank you so much, Madam Nimal.
You're absolutely right, teacher Sophia, that we need to have positive mindset, and PBD is much easier for us to carry out after attending your workshop. And I don't think
Mm.
so teachers are going to find it difficult to carry out PBD because you have given a lot of baby steps for us to follow. Thank you so much
Mm-mm.
for that. We keep in touch on your Facebook. So with that, I would
Mm.
like to hand over the session to our MC of today's session, Mr. Sodik. Please, over to you, Mr. Sodik. We have done.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I've been muting myself. Right, thank you to Ms. Sophia Rahim, our speaker, for an exciting sharing on assessment in language learning, and Ms. Nirmaladevi for a very good job in moderating our sessions today. Without further ado, as a token of appreciation from us here in Sabah Education Department, let us watch a video of a mock-up certificate ceremony to our speaker. Right. Thank you so much again to Ms. Sophia Rahim for the great input and time. And I would like to ask for the viewers just to fill in, please kindly fill in this feedback form. We've pinned in the comment section our attendance for today and also for the feedback form. Kindly fill in the feedback form that you posted in the comment section. Take your time and reflect back on your session with us. We need your feedback as it would help us in organizing a much more teacher-centered workshop or webinar in the near future. And do please fill in your attendance because we are going to key in it in the SPLKPM. And with that, we have come to the end of our workshop. Thank you guys for lending your ears, and hopefully this session brings a great insight to all of you. Till we meet again in the next session, adieu and goodbye. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.